you geeks! Edgedancer is an odd tale. A young girl's coming-of-age story set during the end of the world. I bet there's a lot of 12-year-olds out there who will really relate to this story, much as I related to Green Angel in the aftermath of 9/11. Edgedancer takes all the key hallmarks of a Stormlight archive novel: self-discovery, horror, action, and humor, then lumps them together in just a few pages. Despite, or perhaps because of its density, the story works and is rather enjoyable if you like lift. It's a lot of lift. The book technically comes before Oathbringer. I didn't read it before Oathbringer, but for the sake of this review, let's pretend otherwise. Except to say that at the end of Words of Radiance, I didn't know if I liked lift. So if you have similar reservations, maybe just skip to Oathbringer. If you don't like her after that, I don't know what to tell you. This story is quality Sanderson. Although it doesn't tear your heart out and squeeze, it's by no means a light book. I'd say that each page carries the same emotional weight on average as the full Stormlight novel, but it has fewer pages. It adds depth to the world and important character moments that have Roshar changing significance. So it's well worth the read, even if you don't like lift. But if you do, it's a very satisfying story. Spoilers for books 1 through 2.5 of the Stormlight archive. Lift. It's like Sanderson decided to balance his various stone-faced soldiers who don't react to anything with one character that reacts to everything. I love most of her reactions, but they only begin to compensate for not knowing what Dalinar thought when Kaladin caught him during the Battle of Narak. Lift is intriguing because she only ever wants to talk about shallow things. Unlike Shallan, who pretends that her problems don't exist, Lift acknowledges them, acts on them, and then talks about pancakes and food instead. I can totally relate to this, as free food explains all my major life decisions. She also deals with the common Radiant problem of being a little person in a big, big world. But that doesn't stop her from changing it.
This only goes to show what little people can do.
She goes from refugee and street urchin to ordering around bureaucrats and scribes in the most liftish way possible. Finally, we get to see her fight with maturity. And lose. It comes for all of us, kid. Sorry. Well, she lost a battle with maturity. It hasn't defeated her yet. Which is a good thing, because her ability to metabolize Stormlight and her Spren's big mouth could make her the most powerful Radiant on Roshar. Speaking of the blabbermouth, Windell has the dubious honor of being the first Spren I consider a dynamic character. Syl, wonderful as she is constant in her quest for Kaladin's honor. Pattern is equally determined to unearth Shallan's truth. Windell wants to cultivate lift, but also wants to be a gardener and not hit people. He should meet my other favorite gardener.
Your bodyguard is Gardener.
Over the course of the story, he finds his courage and a resigned willingness to let lift hit things with him, or at least stab innocent pancakes. It's funny that of all the Spren we've met, he's the only one to explain Radiant powers and what leveling up means to his Radiant. This is probably why Lift takes one interlude to swear her second oath, and one short story to swear her third. If Honor Spren had emulated Cultivation Spren, The desolation would be dealt with by now. World building. This story establishes several important facts about Roshar. We get to see life in Tashik, where the information brokers dwell, and its geopolitical alignment with the Azish Empire. Real important stuff that can be boiled down to playground antics. The Tashiki culture is interesting. The West had been described as the center of fashion and civilization, so I was surprised that Tashiki were not leaders in Rosharan fashion. Rather, they had the Sheikwas. These Sheikwas do serve an important function for the plot, as they clothe one of those persons who write the blurbs on the back of the USA editions. Sleepless Aeonians. Ugh.
Now we're being followed by rocks. Never heard that before.
Their blurbs have never inspired me to pick up these books. I often disagree with Tor on how to dress a Sanderson book. Back to the Kremlings. Sure, the old guy says they were once friends to ancient Radiants, but they are unkillable beings with the powers of bilocation, a hive mind, and an inability to understand that humans have free will. What could possibly go wrong? In fact, something has already gone wrong. Aemia got blown up, sending quirky souls like Axes adrift. It's really telling that the immortal mad god on a murder spree is not the most disturbing thing on Lift's little exploit. I am unnerved. Plot. Edgedancer is an epic quest for pancakes, with the side quest of saving the Truth Watcher from Nail. Or it might be the inverse. Whatevs. Rereading the story, it's clear that the Stump is a Truth Watcher from her very first line. I see through your lies. Classic Sanderson. Yet it takes Lift up to the very last moment to figure it out. Lift backing herself into responsibility by stealing Nail's lunch is so very Howl's Moving Castle.
Knowing you'd be there gave me the courage to show up. That woman terrifies me. I can't face her on my own.
But instead of misdirection via laundry, we're treated to learning all about the hydro and pyrodynamics of a city in a ditch. And pancakes, of course. Those are very important. Lift reinforces how intimidating Zeth is, especially now that he's wielding a magic black sword. Nightblood! Excuse me. We know Zeth's not evil, and deep down wants to be a good person, but Lift sees none of that and gives him the proper freak out he deserves. In the end, Lift swears her third ideal and gets her shard stick / fork. A rather majestic fork. It's interesting that Sanderson gives all the Radiants excellent battlefield skills, yet solves this problem with listening instead of violence. Listening is a true superpower that very few people can wield properly. Makes me wonder who was ignoring Nail this whole time. Probably Ashar the Wise. They keep calling him that, and yet all I can think of is...
When did Saruman the Wise abandon reason for madness?
Of course, I think Nail has been ignoring himself for a few centuries, too. His emotions, anyway. It only took the end of the world and an annoyingly persistent Imperial street urchin for him to realize that. Wrapping up this side quest gives Lift all the XP needed to achieve her ultimate goal, eating all 10 types of pancakes. Of course, here she learns another unfortunate thing about adults. They hide the truth too, and call it art. Overcoming this great setback of eating only 9 pancakes, our hero rides off into the sunset to another adventure. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.